Did you know that 1 year ago we started our YouTube channel? That's right, we've made it a whole year posting almost every week for you guys. The dinner that I was making this night, you can kind of see I threw a bit of everything in there. We had a lot of veggies left over from recently buying them for a certain meal, and I wanted to just use a bunch of them up, so I threw Brussels sprouts, potatoes, onions, carrots, everything into this, and then once it cooked down in the broth for quite a while with the seasoning, I cut up some turkey and put in it that we had cooked earlier on that week in the smoker. Hi guys. I'm sitting down to plan out my herb bed for this year because we're going to change it up a little bit. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I also wanted to show you guys because I seen it on the fridge earlier. It's been on the fridge for a year now, but I totally forget about it being there until just earlier today when I was cleaning and I seen it, and I thought, how wild is it that plans can change so much in just 1 year? Or, you know, how much they changed and how differently we did things for so many different reasons in just 1 year. So I got them off the fridge. I got our old plans from the garden off of the fridge, and then I'm going to show you guys what we didn't do, why we didn't do it, and show you what we're doing instead this year. Hey guys, it's Tuesday morning, Esther here, and I just wanted to jump in here really quick and say that these are not definite plans that we are about to talk about, but they are just what we have discussed in the past. That does not mean that they are 100% what we're going to do. So without further ado, let's get back to it. So this was our layout for our garden this last year. So let's see. This is the entrance, and we have potatoes and zucchini, squash, and cucumbers. We did plant those two things. The potatoes did not end up good. These did, but a little too good. We're gonna maybe plant them a little bit differently this year. Tomatoes, we are gonna plant in the same place. We did plant them there, and they did do very good. We're going to actually extend them out farther this way, and I think we're also gonna put like more trellises down, and then cucumbers maybe closer here to the end before the peppers. But we are gonna keep this line down the middle. We're just gonna change it up just a little bit to maybe even make it like a hoop trellis, and put tomatoes all the way down, and then also cucumbers down here, then the peppers. The cool crops was here in the middle, and we've decided that we're not going to do the amount of cool crops that we did last year. We're not going to do like cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and all the things. We actually decided we're going to do mostly just like broccoli and freeze it, because we didn't do as good with it, and we want to more focus on it, like focus on one plant or one type of plant, then focus on a whole bunch of different kinds and not do as good. Maybe focus a lot on one kind. We're gonna do them in raised beds, which I'll show you here in a minute, and then maybe we can grow them better. Let's go ahead and hop down to here where we have green beans and dried beans. So we actually decided against doing dried beans, and we decided to do green beans all the way across here. Now, we did the bush variety, which I didn't like, but I do like that we did them all the way across here because it gave us enough green beans for the rest of the year. So what we've decided is along this fence line here, we're actually going to make a trellis that goes up, and we're going to do pole beans, and it's like we're gonna put like a string kind of trellis. We're gonna do them across here, and then maybe even have room across in the front of them to do something else. Maybe dried beans, maybe not, maybe something else. We don't know yet. Then we get down here to the root plants. So we planted carrots right here, and then in front of them we planted garlic, and then over here on the other side of them we planted onions, and really none of which did good. We've decided to do all 3 of those in raised beds separately somewhere else. So we don't know what we're planning on doing this year in that corner of the garden, but we definitely are going to fill the whole garden. We just don't know what yet we're going to put there. Besides that, we put on this plan, we had put corn and strawberries. The corn we did put here, but we actually ended up putting it all the way across here because the strawberries we put in a raised bed somewhere else this year or last year, and this year we plan on leaving them there, but in the year following we plan on digging up the roots and putting them somewhere else, but not bad, like not for bad reason. We like where we have them, we just don't like how big it is. We want it to be a bigger thing of strawberries, so we decided to leave them for this year, and then next year we're going to uproot them and move them to a bigger raised garden bed. Which brings me to this year's plans for garden beds. So we have, I'm not going to use the ruler, I'm going to use this pencil because it's easier to paint with. Okay, so we have 5 smaller raised garden beds and this one bigger one. We have carrots, lettuce and stuff, onions and garlic together, either greens or lettuce, 1 for potatoes, and then 1 for, this is going to be my new herb garden. So right now, if you're looking at it, where these 2 are is where the strawberry bed is. So this year we've decided not to do these 2 beds and leave the strawberry bed where it's at. And then next year we're going to move the strawberry beds probably over here and probably make a nice big one over here. Then we will replace it with these 2 right here. So for this year we're going to have onions and garlic. We're going to use this one that I originally said was for potatoes. We're actually going to use it for carrots this year. And then we're going to use this one for greens, which I believe is actually going to be whole crops. And then we're going to continue to use our strawberries right here, and then my herb garden. Got it drawn up here. We have a 10 by 8 by 8, and then each of these will be 3 foot across, and there'll be a 4 foot walkway in the middle. 4 foot by like 5 foot, I think. 4 by 5 foot. Anyways, as you can see, there's plenty here. And I will go into detail, like these are all just pretty much details written out because you can see I have dill, sage, oregano, thyme, feverfew, hyssop, lavender, yarrow, chamomile, and basil. So those are actually only the plants that are going here, but I kind of went into detail about what they are, what they do, and why I'm putting them where I'm putting them. So we'll start with the dill. I'm not sure, I think it said it's a perennial, but I don't remember, but I'm just gonna plant like a small section of it just down here at the bottom. I haven't even actually decided if I'm just gonna put it here or if I'm just gonna put it here, but I know that one end or the other I'm gonna put just a small little section of dill, because we're going to just use it for our own pickles, and we don't make that many pickles anyways, so I'm not going to make that many, I'm not going to plant that much dill because I don't anticipate on using it all, and otherwise I wouldn't have any use for it. So other than that, we're going to move up, and the next thing is sage. I actually had 2 sections put out for it, so I originally had this whole section, but I decided I'm actually only going to do this much because sage isn't that important to me. It's like, it's kind of just a fun cooking herb, but it's not my favorite, and I'm not going to use a lot of it honestly in my kitchen, so I'm just going to do a smaller section of it. It's also a perennial, and I'm probably going to put like 6 to 8 plants in that little thing, because this last year I did do sage and I got some but not a lot, so I am going to plant some more of it and a bigger quantity of them, but in a small space because I'm not really that sure on how much I'll use it. Next is the oregano, which is my favorite herb to use in the kitchen. I love oregano. I can buy like a big thing of oregano from the store and go through it in no time. I cook with it in everything. So That's why I made my sage a little bit smaller, because I have here to here, all of that is going to be oregano, and I'm going to put 8 to 10 plants in there because they do get a little bigger and bushier, especially if you prune them correctly, which I plan on doing better this year. Next, I have just in the corner, I just have a little bit of thyme. It's not my favorite herb. I'm not really that excited about doing it again, but I have it and I might as well use it. And also I'm more experimenting with it more than anything. So I don't know if you can see very well, but I literally have from right here to right here, just like a little bit in this corner here. I gave to some thyme. So next is the feverfew. I put this whole corner in. As you can see as we go along, the ones that have the biggest sections are the ones that are going to be my tea herbs, not my kitchen herbs, because my kitchen herbs, either they grow a lot of things in a small space, or I just don't use as much of them, like I was saying with the sage and the thyme. So feverfew, that is a semi-perennial, so it could reseed itself, or it could even be a biennial where it grows up back the next spring after it dies back from the roots, or it can just be a perennial because it reseeds itself. But I would more consider that like I don't even know if this is a term, but like a semi-perennial is what I would call it myself, because it's seeding itself back, and it would only do that if you had a very mild winter, which is kind of 50-50 here. I'm not really expecting it to be a perennial here, but it can, if you have a very mild winter where you live, you can reseed itself and go into the next year, like overwinter and grow again the next year. It's good for migraines, aches, and pains, especially migraines is why I am planting it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't even plant this herb because it's a very bitter herb. So I have not personally tried it. I'm just taking this advice from other people. But you can use the flowers. I'm probably going to dry them in tea to use them in teas. Or you can actually even just, if you have like a really bad migraine and you probably want to get rid of it really fast, you can chew on the raw leaves, but it will be very bitter, and people recommend to do it with honey. So that's another way of taking that, but that's what that's for. And I'm actually really excited to use it because I get migraines really badly. So it's gonna be such a relief to know that I can go out there and have a natural herb that I can use instead of taking, say, ibuprofen or Tylenol. My next one is one that I actually already have tried, and I know that I love it. So I gave it a nice big section here in the middle, and that's gonna be my hyssop. You guys, if you've been here for a while, you've probably heard me talk about it and even use it, and like you've probably seen me harvest it, dry it out, grind it up, and use it before, because I've used this stuff all year long. This is my first year using them, and so I know it's not like a lot of experience underneath my belt, but I do know that I love it, and it is one of my favorite herbs. It's an annual, but it's a tea herb that tastes like licorice, and I think that is my favorite part about it. I love licorice. I'll plant like probably 8 to 10 plants right there because they do get pretty big and they do kind of like go out. Next, we have down here in this area right here, we have the lavender. Now last year I did not do very good on the lavender. I tried to grow lavender and it didn't come up literally at all. And turns out you're supposed to overwinter it. Now you can either overwinter it in the ground because it is a perennial, or you can do a fake overwintering in the fridge, like in the freezer, before you plant it for just like 2 to 8 weeks. Put it in the freezer and let it think that it's going through winter, so that when you plant it, it actually does come up. Anyways, it's great for headaches and relaxing. Or I remember a lot of the time growing up, I had really bad migraines, like I was saying, and so I would use it a lot just on my temples or on my wrists whenever I had a really bad migraine, and it always helped so much. My next one is something I haven't tried before, but I've heard some about, and I've decided to go ahead and try some yarrow. I've heard that it's kind of a plant that just like grows up and then has flowers that go out in kind of like a blanket. It's another perennial, and a lot of these things is what I've read off of like articles and like what people have been saying about these plants. So not all of this stuff is stuff that I personally know about these things. So I just wanted to put that out there because I don't want to be like saying the wrong thing and people are like, oh, you're wrong. No, like, I don't know all of this stuff. I am putting out there what I have read on it, not what I personally know. Again, like the lavender, the hyssop, the oregano, I know those things, and the basil. Some of these things I do know. I don't know everything about them, but I do know some things about them. But like the yarrow, I have no clue anything about it. This is what I've personally read off of the internet and what people have said. So it's a perennial, and it's good for wounds, cuts, bruises, and it will help reduce a fever. What I've read. I actually even put a note at the bottom of it. We will learn, because I will learn as I go, and I will keep you guys updated on what I find out about this plant. Next is chamomile. I put a nice big section for chamomile. That is because this last year I did grow chamomile, but only like 2 little plants grew, and I got like 5 little flowers off of it. Yeah, so this one is the German chamomile is what I'm planting, but I also just read that not all chamomile is an annual. There's some that are perennials and some that are annuals. The one that I got specifically here is going to be an annual. I planted it last year, and then I ordered some more because I'm going to plant it again this year. But I'm going to be planting a lot of it. Like I said, you need a lot of it. But this one's the German chamomile. Super good for relaxing, and it's best for like a nighttime tea. Anyways, and then the last little bit here, I'm planting basil, which is also an annual, and it will take up a lot of space if properly pruned. This whole space can possibly even be taken up by 1 plant, maybe 2. I'm probably gonna plant 2, and then one of them might be cold. But if you properly prune it, it can take up a lot of space. Now mine did not, but I had no idea how to prune them, and I had no idea of any of these things that you were supposed to prune so much more than I did. I was so afraid of hurting my plants. Turns out you can't. I'm actually so excited though, because all of these things that I've named off to you, yes, some of them are experimental, some of them I've done before, but all of them I'm going much deeper into my research this year than I did last year. Yeah, last year I was so busy all the time. I was going to the hospital literally constantly for appointments because I was pregnant with my second baby when my first baby had health problems, so they were keeping a super close eye on me. So last year, like, I wanted to get really into herbs, especially for that purpose, because I was pregnant and I wanted to take really good care of myself. But like, I just didn't have time to do the research that I wanted to do before I was able to plant them. So I planted them, kind of did a little bit of like a trial and error type thing, and turns out I fell more in love with it than I knew that I would. And so now that my kiddo that I was pregnant with is going to be coming up on a year this summer, I'm going to be able to be like way more involved with my herbs this year. Like, I feel like you could have infinite knowledge of herbs and still not know everything. There's just so much to learn, and I love that about them, because like, no matter how much I learn, there's always more I could learn. These are not facts. These are not things that, like, I'm not a professional. I don't know all the things about this. So don't scold me in the comments. I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm willing to tell you guys what I learn as I go. And I'm willing to tell you what I'm doing with these plants and how I am taking care of them and what I'm using them for. So other than that, we will talk maybe later on, along with Montana, about our other garden that we're going to be doing, and also our raised beds. I showed you a little bit, like I said, with like where we're going to be putting them and what we're going to be putting in them, but maybe he has more in depth to go on that. I look forward to talking to you guys about it later, but for now, I'm going to go, and I will see you guys then. Bye-bye. But I will tell you what. But I will tell you what. But I will tell you what. That's what I said.
I got like